They are a mystery as old as time itself. This basic shape is universal. You may be surprised to know that pyramids can be found on every continent on the planet. No one knows why our ancestors chose this shape to design and construct their greatest monuments. Pyramids of all sizes can be found in the Middle East, Latin America, Asia, Europe, and the North American continent. They stand as reminders that modern technology is not the pinnacle of our achievements. Who built the pyramids, and how old are they? Why this specific shape? How were they constructed, and what was their purpose? Pyramids are the greatest wonder of the world. Modern scientists use carbon dating to determine the age of ancient artifacts. But carbon dating only works with organic objects. It does not work with stone or rock. In order to determine the age of rock, scientists must first find something organic near the rock and date that, such as wood, fabric, or other organic materials. Because we cannot date stone itself, we truly have no idea the age of all stone structures. Our dating methods are an educated guess at best. Archaeologists believe Egypt's large pyramids were the work of the Old Kingdom society that rose to prominence in the Nile Valley around 3000 BC. Historical analysis tells us that the Egyptians built the Giza pyramids in a span of 85 years between 2589 and 2504 BC. Now, most archaeologists say the Sphinx is about 4,500 years old. However, some claim that the vertical weathering patterns on the Sphinx could only have been made thousands of years earlier when the area had abundant rainfall. So, what is the truth? The pyramid texts are a collection of ancient Egyptian religious texts from the time of the Old Kingdom. They are possibly the oldest known religious texts in the world. Written in Old Egyptian, the pyramid texts are carved on the walls and sarcophagi of the pyramids at Saqqara during the 5th and 6th dynasties of the Old Kingdom. The oldest of the texts have been dated to between 2400 and 2300 BC. These texts do not mention the Sphinx. Why? Because it was buried in the sand until 1400 BC. Evidence that Thutmose IV's campaign is preserved in the so-called dream stele he erected between the two paws of the Sphinx in 1400 BC. According to the story inscribed in the stela, the Sphinx spoke to him in a dream and asked the prince to free him from the sand, which he did. Therefore, the Egyptians did not build the Sphinx. They discovered it. If the Egyptians didn't construct the Sphinx, who did and when? Is the Great Pyramid of Giza as old as the Sphinx as well? The Giza-Orion correlation theory is a hypothesis in pyramidology. Its central claim is that there is a correlation between the location of the three largest pyramids of the Giza Pyramid Complex and the three middle stars of the constellation Orion, and that this correlation was intended as such by the pyramid builders. This alignment occurred 12,500 years ago. The Orion correlation theory states that the construction of the Great Sphinx was begun in 10,500 BC, that the Sphinx's lion shape is a definitive reference to the constellation of Leo, and that the layout and orientation of the Sphinx, the Giza Pyramid Complex, and the Nile River are an accurate reflection or map of the constellations of Leo, Orion's Belt, and the Milky Way respectively. There is no other way to explain this correlation. 12,500 BC is the only time in the precession of the equinoxes when the astrological age was Leo and when that constellation rose directly east of the Sphinx at the vernal equinox. These propositions and other theories are used to support the overall belief in an advanced and ancient but now vanished global progenitor civilization. Add to this, the Sphinx has been heavily weathered by rainwater and must therefore have been carved in pre-dynastic times. With these facts, you begin to understand how our dating methods are inaccurate at best. The ancient pyramids are likely the most known of all the pyramids around the world, but they are not the only majestic monuments to reach for the skies. A recently discovered and little-known pyramid has existed for eons in the Republic of Bosnia. The Bosnian pyramids are a pseudo-archaeological claim promoted by Arthur Seymour Osmanagic that a cluster of hills in central Bosnia and Herzegovina are the largest human-made ancient pyramids on Earth. The hills are located near the town of Visokovo, where the old town of Iskaj was once sited and became the focus of international attention in October 2005 following a news media campaign by Seymour and his supporters. Osmanagic states that he has found tunnels, stone blocks, and ancient mortar, which he has suggested once covered the structure. He opened excavations in 2006, which have reshaped the hill, making it look like a stepped pyramid. Geologists, archaeologists, and other scientists have, however, concluded after analysis of the site, its known history, and the excavations, that the hills are a natural formation known as flatrons, and that there are no signs of human construction involved. The European Association of Archaeologists released a statement calling the pyramid hypothesis a cruel hoax. However, in 2007, a report by Egyptologist Nabil Mohammed Saloum was published by the Archaeological Park, which said that the Pyramid of the Sun was the world's largest pyramid. After 2 visits to Bastia, he released a report in 2007 in which he concluded, arguments in favor or in disfavor have no effect on the fact that the pyramid concept and the properties are there for everyone to see. In 2010, he released a report in which he clarified that he does not claim it is a man-made pyramid, but rather that he uses the term for a feature natural or artificial, which is a geometric pyramid. He does not exclude the possibility it is man-made. If the Bosnian pyramid is man-made, it is the largest in the world and possibly the oldest. It would be a paramount discovery to modern pyramidology. In October 2011, Sarajevo Court ended a 4-year court case by giving permission for further investigation of the Bosnian pyramid. From Bosnia to South America, more pyramids can be found. There is no dispute that Machu Picchu is an enormous structure constructed by pyramid builders. According to scientists, Machu Picchu was built around 1450 at the height of the Incan Empire. It was abandoned just over 100 years later in 1572. Although the citadel is located only about 50 miles from Cusco, the Inca capital, the Spanish never found it, and consequently did not plunder or destroy it as they did many other sites. Over the centuries, the surrounding jungle grew over the site, and few knew of its existence. According to theory, Machu Picchu was a place for Pakakuri and his royal court, or pancia, to relax, hunt, and entertain guests. It is a belief among some New Age cosmologists that aliens once inhabited the Cusco region of Peru and are responsible for building Machu Picchu's grand architecture. These views have been widely refuted by Peruvians, as they feel their ancestors were capable of such technological and archaeological feats. The central buildings at Machu Picchu use the classical Inca architectural style of polished dry stone walls of regular shape. The Incas were masters of this technique, called ashlar, in which blocks of stone are cut to fit perfectly, tightly, without mortar. Many junctions in the central city are so perfect that it is said that not even a blade of grass fits between the stones. It is a conundrum how Machu Picchu was constructed. The Incas never used the wheel in any practical manner. Its use in toys demonstrates that the principle was well known to them, although it was not applied in their engineering. The lack of strong draft animals, as well as steep terrain and dense vegetation issues, may have rendered the wheel impractical. How they moved and placed the enormous blocks of stones remains a mystery, although the general belief is that they used hundreds of men to push the stones up inclined planes. A few of the stones still have knobs on them that could have been used to lever them into position. It is believed that after the stones were placed, the Incas would have sanded the knobs away, but a few were overlooked and remain to this day. From the plateau of Machu Picchu to the outback of Australia, pyramids abound all over the world. The Gympie Pyramid is a low terraced hill located in the outskirts of Gympie in Queensland, Australia, alleged to have been created by European immigrants in the late 19th or early 20th century, though there is no record of this. Many speculate that it was constructed by an unknown civilization, Egyptians, South Americans, or perhaps the Chinese. Rex Gilroy claims that he discovered the Gympie Pyramid in 1975 and claimed that the pyramid was created by the Egyptians, who had mining operations in Australia centuries ago, with bases of operation reaching as far as the Blue Mountains in New South Wales. In an article on this subject, Anthony G. Wheeler writes, "It seems that a terraced hill was claimed to be a pyramid on the basis of a nearby stone wall around a church being of unusual construction, was supposed by local legends and taboos that warned against intrusion into the pyramid area, the predominance in the area of a cactus of South or Central American origin, a statue, an Iron Man or Gympie ape, of non-Aboriginal manufacture found nearby, and some crude inscriptions on a stone block dug up in the area." Wheeler notes that an amateur archaeologist became convinced that the pyramid and other features were evidence of ancient settlement in Australia by the Incas of South America. While Pai argues the pyramid is of Incan origin, Galvin Menanzas states that it is direct and persuasive evidence of the Chinese visits to Australia, and that its size, height, and shape are typical of Ming Dynasty observation platforms, and it would have been wholly logical for the Chinese to build observations to determine precisely the location of the phenomenal riches they had discovered. Wheeler argues that the claims of an extraordinary origin for the pyramid are unfounded, writing, "The facts are probably that the Gympie Golden Pyramid is actually an ordinary hill terraced by early Italian immigrants for viticulture that has been disfigured by erosion and the removal of stone from the remaining walls for use elsewhere." As for all the supporting statements by the various authorities, all but a few unimportant ones fade away as one after another provides to be a misquote, a falsification, or an outright fabrication. Currently, the Queensland Department of Main Roads is planning to build a road through the site. If destroyed, we may never know if the Gympie Pyramid is ancient or a modern structure. A multitude of pyramids dot the landscape of Mexico in North America. Most famous of these pyramids are the structures at Teotihuacan. These two towering pyramids are dedicated to the sun and the moon. Teotihuacan was the largest city in the pre-Columbian Americas, with a population estimated at 125,000 or more. The early history of Teotihuacan is quite mysterious, and the origin of its founders is uncertain. For many years, archaeologists believed it was built by the Toltec. This belief was based on colonial period texts, such as the Florentine Codex, which attributed the site to the Toltecs. However, the word Toltec generally means craftsman of the highest level, and may not always refer to the Toltec civilization centered at Tula. Since Toltec civilization flourished centuries after Teotihuacan, the people could not have been the city's founders. The city and the archaeological site are located in what is now the San Juan Teotihuacan municipality in the state of Mexico, approximately 25 miles northeast of Mexico City. The site covers a total surface area of 32 square miles. It is the most visited archaeological site in Mexico. Who built Teotihuacan? Its origins are a complete mystery. It was built by hand more than 1,000 years before the arrival of the Aztec in central Mexico. But it was the Aztec descending on the abandoned site, no doubt falling awestruck by what they saw, who gave it the name Teotihuacan. Its age is a mystery. The city is thought to have been established around 100 BC, with major monuments continuously under construction until about 250 AD. But no one knows the actual age of the structure. As far as we know, the pyramids of the sun and moon do not have internal chambers. Therefore, they are monuments rather than buildings. However, a tunnel under the Pyramid of the Sun has been discovered, and researchers have uncovered thousands of ritual objects at the feet of what may be a royal tomb. Guarded by the remains of hundreds of sacrificial bodies, the tunnel entrance remained hidden until researchers from Mexico's National University located it in 2003. They spent years planning the exploration and raising funds before finally reaching the tunnel entrance in 2010. The tunnel appeared to have been closed on purpose by the city's inhabitants. Its entrance, more than 40 feet below ground, was covered with rocks. They found offerings laid before the entrance of 3 chambers at the end of the tunnel, suggesting these are tombs of the elite. The tunnel, hundreds of feet long, follows a route of symbols leading to several sealed funeral chambers that may hold the bodies of ancient rulers. Further research is pending. What will they find when these tombs are finally discovered and opened? Could these hidden chambers hold solid proof of who built Teotihuacan? There are as many theories for the existence of all pyramids worldwide as there are pyramids themselves. One of the most intriguing theories, and the one that is sustained by many facts, is the notion that the pyramids were built, or at least inspired, by aliens. There are three possibilities for the existence of these monumental structures. 1. Mankind, either willingly or as slaves, somehow struggled to piece the architecture of these towering structures together, using whatever they had with quarried stones from miles away that they inexplicably moved into place. 2. Mankind had help, either directly or indirectly, to develop the technology to achieve such monumental ventures. Or 3. The structures were not built by man, but were placed on Earth either by an earlier civilization we know nothing about, or an external intelligence from outside the Earth. If man built the pyramids on his own, then we would expect there would be an enormous effort to record such an achievement. However, no culture that had pyramids has any clue how they were built. There are no records of any of the pyramid's construction save some hieroglyphs in Egypt, and those are not detailed. Ramps, stairs, and pulley devices are often mentioned, but these are theories and have little supporting evidence. The truth is, if mankind built any of the pyramids, it is evidence of a technological sophistication that there is no precedence in any known archaeological knowledge base that they could have sustained. They simply did not have the means, knowledge, nor technology to do so. The theory that aliens from another world may have assisted in building the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt and other pyramids might explain how some of the most amazing and mysterious engineering feats in human history were accomplished. Moving massive stone blocks, apparently quarried from many miles away, and assembling them into something so colossal and precise seems like an insurmountable task even today. The signs of advanced technology litter the landscape around the Great Pyramids. It is true that the ancient Egyptians could never assemble the 70-ton blocks into pyramids using ramps and pulleys. Evidence within the Great Pyramid and around the Giza Plateau exists if one goes looking for it. Laser-cut crystal bowls, precision-cut stone with angles only advanced machinery could have achieved. Even an advanced battery has been discovered. None of these technologies could have been achieved with basic stone or bronze tools. But what if they had help? For many years now, the idea that aliens may have helped ancient man has been put forth. And from the time in the 1960s when the question was first written by Erich von Däniken, people have found even more evidence to support this theory. Today, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of artifacts that show advanced technology or evidence of advanced tooling. Modern scientists have no idea how they were made or used. Stone blocks cut with laser precision. Huge stones adjoined as if fitted like puzzle pieces together. Signs of metal clamps used to hold blocks to one another. Laser-cut holes with right angles. gigantic blocks weighing several tons that have been lifted and precisely dropped into place. The list goes on, and this is just in Egypt. Engineers today say none of this could have been achieved without advanced technology, which the ancient Egyptians didn't have. So who did? If mankind did not have the tools or knowledge to create such structures, then the only logical conclusion is he had help, most likely from an extraterrestrial source. Did mankind have help building the pyramids and other monumental structures found around the world? Many scientists and laymen think so. In ancient Mesopotamia, there was a fertile region called Sumner, and a people we refer to as the Sumerians. They had an advanced knowledge of mathematics and architecture, and created some interesting art that still survives to this day. Because of some of the things they left behind, we know the Sumerians revered gods they called the Anunnaki. And not only the Sumerians, apparently other cultures in Mesopotamia knew of these deities as well. The Anunnaki are at the center of a great deal of debate regarding ancient aliens and what exactly the ancient people knew. Much of this stems from the work of Zecharia Sitchin. In the 1970s, after interpreting and studying ancient Sumerian texts, Sitchin realized they revealed stunning information about the origins of the human race. He then wrote several books where he put forth his theories. Sitchin believed the Anunnaki originate from Nibiru, a rogue planet that takes thousands of years to orbit the sun. The Anunnaki were sent here to mine gold to bring back to their home world. When they rebelled against poor working conditions, the decision was made to genetically modify prehistoric humans, Homo erectus, by incorporating Anunnaki DNA and creating a new slave species. Because of this, Homo sapiens were born. The theory is that the Anunnaki built the structures we see today, and that they will one day return to Earth when the planet Nibiru completes its 3,600-year orbit of the Sun. It's hard to imagine how ancient man went from hunter-gatherers to archaeological geniuses in just a few decades. Is it possible that we are the product of genetic development and breeding by ancient aliens? Is there evidence in our own DNA that could prove this is true? A new study presented to a Royal Society meeting on ancient DNA in London in 2014 has revealed a dramatic finding. The genome of one of our ancient ancestors, the Denisovans, contains a segment of DNA that seems to have come from another species that is currently unknown to science. The discovery suggests that there was rampant interbreeding between ancient human species in Europe and Asia more than 30,000 years ago. But far more significant was the finding that they also mated with a mystery species from Asia, one that is neither human nor Neanderthal. A paleoanthropologist at the London Natural History Museum admitted that they don't have the faintest idea what the mystery species could be. Traces of the unknown new genome were detected in 2 teeth and a finger bone of a Denisovan, which was discovered in a Siberian cave. There's not much data available about the appearance of Denisovans due to the lack of their fossils availability, but the geneticists and researchers succeeded in arranging their entire genome very precisely. The question is now, who were these mystery people that the Denisovans were breeding with? And if they bred with an ancient unknown species, did other early cavemen do the same? Could this be evidence of a breeding program carried out in antiquity by ancient aliens? When we think of the pyramids and ancient structures, we assume that we, mankind, must have constructed them for some purpose unknown. If we entertain the notion that we did not build them, then our imagination extends to some external source, such as aliens. However, there is a third possibility that does not include man nor aliens. Consider the possibility that there could have been an intelligent, advanced civilization living on Earth before the human race. Could the ancient structures we marvel at today have been built by a race of people that predate our knowledge of man? There is evidence to suggest that giants once walked the Earth and may not have been human. Giant skeletons have been found from the Americas to Europe. Many had a double row of teeth and were 8 to 12 feet tall. The Paiutes, a Native American tribe indigenous to parts of Nevada, Utah, and Arizona, told early white settlers about the ancestors' battles with the ferocious race of white, red-haired giants. According to the Paiutes, the giants were already living in the area. The Paiutes named the giants Sitka, that literally means tool eaters. The tool is a fibrous water plant the giants wove into rafts to escape the Paiutes' continuous attacks. They used the rafts to navigate across what remained of Lake Lahontan. According to the Paiutes, the red-haired giants stood as tall as 12 feet and were a vicious, unapproachable people that killed and ate captured Paiutes as food. The Paiutes told the early settlers that after many years of warfare, all the tribes in the area finally joined together to rid themselves of the giants. Evidence of the giant humans, people 7 to 12 feet tall, still exists in the fossil records. Tools and other artifacts recovered from archaeological digs show giant skeletal remains that awed and sometimes frightened researchers and explorers as far back as the 16th century. 10 and 12-foot humans do not fit dogmatic theories. Usually, when giant skeletons are found, they're laughed off as hoaxes. Unfortunately, orthodox science has too much to lose by investigating the mounds thoroughly. Archaeologists cannot deny that the mound builders are real. What they deny are the things sometimes discovered inside the mounds. Over the past century and a half, it's been revealed again and again that some of the mounds and the small pyramids are the burial grounds of huge men, often 8 feet or taller, and they had a sophisticated culture. Some of the giants have been found wearing intricate leather armor and have been buried with swords. Could these ancient giants that walk the earth be the remnants of a lost civilization of giants that predate modern man? If so, did they have the technology to create the monuments and pyramids we ponder over today? We know little about those giants, but we know a great deal about the architecture of ancient pyramids, and we now know mankind could not have created them. If not ancient giants, then who? The Earth is dotted with historical places featuring pyramids and ancient structures. But the Earth is not the only place you can find pyramids. Mars also has its own pyramid structures. Cydonia is a region on the planet Mars that has attracted both scientific and popular interest. The name originally referred to the albedo feature that was visible from Earthbound telescopes. Cydonia lies in the planet's northern hemisphere in a transitional zone between the heavily cratered regions to the south and relatively smooth plains to the north. Some planetologists believe that the northern plains may once have been ocean beds and that Cydonia may once have been a coastal zone. Cydonia was first imaged in detail by the Viking 1 and Viking 2 orbiters. These images appear to show a human face on Mars. Since it was originally first imaged, the face has been universally accepted as an optical illusion, an example of the psychological phenomenon of pareidolia. After analysis of the higher resolution Mars Global Survey data, NASA stated that a detailed analysis of multiple images of this feature reveals a natural-looking Martian hill, whose illusionary face-like appearance depends on the viewing angle and angle of illumination. However, the face only directed our attention to the area. To the south and east of the face are a number of pyramid structures and also what appears to be a city. Richard Hoagland, a former member of the JPL Press Corps and the author of The Monuments of Mars, has led a long investigation into the Viking data. He and his team have analyzed different photographic frames taken at different angles weeks apart. He claims that he and his researchers have considerable evidence that the face, as well as some nearby pyramid-shaped objects and other artifacts, are the work of sentient creatures. If aliens did impart knowledge or actually create the pyramids on Earth, who is to say they didn't also do it on another planet? Of the three possibilities of pyramid origins, with the discovery of pyramids on Mars, the alien theory is looking much more logical. Why the pyramid shape? Why not square or octagon buildings? If pyramids were supposed to be tombs or simply monuments, why not create them using an easier shape, such as a box? While no clue was left behind as to the reason for the triangle shape, archaeologists have made educated guesses. Some believe that the pyramid shape is representative of the mound of creation. Egyptians believed that the earth was created on an island, which they named the Mound of Creation. The pyramids rising up out of the flat desert might signify this belief. Some believe that the pyramids are shaped in such a way to allow easy passage from this life to the next. The sun was another important part of Egyptian beliefs. To honor and please their sun god, some archaeologists believe that the pyramid's sides represent the rays of the sun. Now, these explanations, of course, assume the Egyptians built the pyramids, but could the pyramids have served another purpose rather than being the tombs of pharaohs? No mummy or pharaoh has ever been found within a pyramid. The notion that they were tombs has no evidence to back it. However, there are many engineering facts regarding the pyramids that do support these structures being a machine of some type. One fascinating theory that fits the facts is that the pyramids were a sound resonance chamber and were used for healing. Sonic experiments performed in the King's Chamber shows that the King's Chamber has a series of acoustic resonance frequencies that correspond with perfect musical notes. The coffer inside the King's Chamber, for instance, has a perfect resonance frequency of 440 Hz, the ground note A, the frequency of a tuning fork. It's no coincidence that the resonance frequencies that were discovered in the King's Chamber correspond with the resonance frequency of our DNA base. The builders of the Great Pyramid must have had a thorough understanding of the human DNA, if indeed they were able to attune the King's Chamber to DNA frequencies. Is it possible that something as simple as sound frequencies can be used for DNA healing? Resonance frequencies of the King's Chamber do correspond with the resonance frequencies that were found in the 4 nucleotides of the DNA molecule. During the last decade, a handful of scientists and researchers have discovered that the Great Pyramids of Egypt and other similar pyramids have unique energetic properties that induce medical benefits for various types of illnesses and ailments. Some researchers claim that pyramids built using sacred geometry has the power to increase the energy frequency of an organism, including the human body. They believe this is possible due to their unique geometric shape. The sacred shape of these pyramids helps absorb electromagnetic energy coming from the Earth, stars, and other planets. It is believed that the electromagnetic waves can actually change the vibrational frequency rate of people, thereby altering their mental, physical, and emotional states. If some pyramids were used for healing, then we must adjust our thinking about them. They were not tombs for the dead, but rather hospitals for the living. Sound and music can completely change a person's mood and has been proven to heal even deadly diagnoses such as cancer. We use sound for healing in modern medicine. Lithotripsy is a procedure that uses shock waves to break up stones in the kidney, bladder, or urethra. High-energy shock waves or sound waves pass through the body until they hit the kidney stones. The waves break the stones into tiny pieces. After the procedure, the tiny pieces of stone pass out of your body in your urine. Is it possible that the sarcophagus within the Great Pyramid was not a sarcophagus at all, but rather a bath whereby a patient received these sound healing practices? If we correct our thinking from tombs to great healing machines, then it makes better sense that enormous efforts were made to create these huge healing devices. Rather than monuments to pharaohs or gods, these were the healing centers of great cities. Indeed, they would have been the most important structure of all ancient cities. Could these pyramid structures found throughout the world be evidence of either our or some civilization's advanced knowledge of medicine? Are the pyramids functional healing devices? And could they still work today? We do not have the technology to build Great Pyramid monuments today. Even our best engineering cranes and lifting machines cannot set 70-ton blocks precisely into place. However, smaller pyramids have been built and do show unusual electromagnetic properties. Pyramid energy has been found to preserve fruits and vegetables, sharpen razor blades, and charge batteries, but these are parlor tricks compared to the power and possibility of these unique machines. Imagine if we could rediscover the possibilities of pyramid power. How would it change and enhance our society? A Canadian hospital tried using a pyramid in their burn ward. The results were that after being under the pyramid for a few minutes, the patient's pain started to reduce. They also found that burned areas healed much faster. Egyptologists have found well-preserved grain in tombs that is thousands of years old. In sharp contrast, grains stored in modern silos usually spoils after only a few seasons of storage. Grain in modern silos usually keeps no longer than 4 years. Careful study reveals several unique and beneficial qualities that may be derived from pyramid meditation. Experienced meditators relate profound results in their quest for expanded awareness. Many people feel that psychic powers are stimulated or heightened by the use of pyramids. Psychics who use pyramids in this fashion have achieved an altered state of consciousness more rapidly than they would have otherwise. Placed on the head, focusing through the chakra system during meditation sessions, clearing psychic passages which may have been blocked. The pyramid is a geometric amplifier which increases the power of prayer or strengthens the spiritual request of a religious devotee. Testimonials from several sources demonstrate that pets of all kinds thrive under or within open-frame pyramids. Dogs and cats are observed to respond to the pyramids. There is also a slowing or complete stopping of the growth of microorganisms. Recent advances in Kirlian photography show the human aura to be significantly brighter after a 15-minute exposure period within a pyramid. Is this evidence of the healing and preservation power of pyramids? And why are we not using this power in modern medicine? Did ancient man have knowledge of advanced spiritual and medical procedures? Or could this power have been in common usage by some ancient civilization whose existence is lost in antiquity? Healing powers may not be the only characteristics of the pyramids. Could the pyramids themselves be blatantly pointing to where this knowledge came from? All pyramid structures around the world are situated towards a specific stellar alignment. The relative positions of 3 main ancient Egyptian pyramids on the Giza Plateau are by design correlated with the relative positions of the 3 stars in the constellation of Orion, which make up Orion's belt, as these stars appeared in 10,000 BC. The orientation of the Teotihuacan pyramid structure may hold some anthropological significance. The pyramid is oriented slightly northwest of the horizon point of the setting sun on 2 days a year, August 12th and April 29th, which are about 1 divinatory calendar year apart for the Teotihuacanos. The day of August 12th is significant because it would have marked the date of the beginning of the present era and the initial day of the Maya long count calendar. In addition, many important astrological events can be viewed from the location of the pyramid that are important in terms of both agriculture and belief systems of the ancient society. The Chinese pyramid of Zhanyang matches the constellation of Gemini, including the star Betelgeuse from the neighboring constellation of Orion. Also, the pyramid matches the brightest star in Taurus, Aldebaran. A study of the sky dating back to 10,500 BC finds the constellation of Gemini is rising on the spring equinox on that date, with the pyramids matching the sky at sunrise. These pyramids appear to have similar alignments to Teotihuacan and Giza. What are the odds all of these pyramids having this one unique galactic alignment? Surely this cannot be a coincidence. Is it possible that all the known pyramids were built by the same people, or were inspired by their advanced knowledge? A further study of the Zhanyang Chinese pyramid results in many unique facts. Chinese pyramids are ancient mausoleums and burial mounds said to have been built to house the remains of several early emperors of China and their imperial relatives. About 38 of them are located around 22 miles northwest of Xi'an on the Qinshan Plains of Shenyang Province. The most famous is the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor, northeast of Xi'an, where the terracotta warriors were found. They have flat tops and thus are more similar in shape to the Teotihuacan pyramids than to the pyramids in Egypt. Although known in the West for at least a century, their existence has been made controversial by sensationalist publicity and the problems of Chinese archaeology in early 20th century. Very little is known about these Chinese pyramids because of government secrecy. In fact, the Chinese government has planted trees on some in an attempt to hide them. What kind of construction are these pyramids? Some of the pyramids are currently in very poor condition, as they were plundered by the local citizens. The pyramids are mostly built of loam and soil. Some farmers destroyed the pyramids to take the loam and soil to their fields and use them in their farms. The heights of the pyramids, situated in the Sichuan Plains, are about 25 to 100 meters, with the exception of only one pyramid situated to the north of the rest of the constructions. It is the so-called Great White Pyramid, which is said to be about 300 meters high. This pyramid can be truly called the mother of all Chinese pyramids. Recently, the Chinese authorities declared the area where the Great White Pyramid stands a closed region, as a launching pad for rockets is situated in that region. According to an old Chinese legend, over 100 pyramids built in China are evidence of visits paid by aliens to our planet. The first record of the pyramids was written over 5,000 years ago. Therefore, it is very likely that they are even older. The Chinese emperors themselves insisted that they were ancestors of the sons of the sky, who had landed on Earth in iron dragons. Aliens are alleged to have been the constructors of the pyramids. The Chinese pyramids resemble the pyramids in Central America. Is it possible that the South American pyramids were also constructed by these sons of the sky? If we look around the locations of monuments and pyramids, we find a multitude of unusual artifacts, from alien-looking drawings to actual mechanical devices. There are some very strange hieroglyphics in the Temple of Osiris at Abydos. According to many UFO enthusiasts and Atlantis proponents, these glyphs depict highly developed craft, specifically a helicopter, a submarine, some form of flying saucer, and a jet airplane. What are these inscriptions all about? If the ancient Egyptians had vehicles such as helicopters, submarines, and jet airplanes, one would expect to find some evidence of this other than in a single inscription on the lintel of a single temple. Could this evidence be buried in the sands of time in Egypt? Or could it have all been destroyed by various invaders in the region over time due to fear or misunderstanding of the purpose of these craft? Within the Giza Pyramid, one of the air shafts has been explored by a robot. The shaft led to a wall or barrier. Scientists know there is a chamber beyond this block sealing the tunnel, but no one knows what is inside the chamber. Could this compartment hold secrets to ancient technology? Recently, a new tunnel has been discovered that runs under the Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico. A years-long exploration of a tunnel sealed almost 2,000 years ago at the ancient city of Teotihuacan yielded thousands of relics and the discovery of 3 chambers that could hold more important finds. Unlike at other pre-Columbian ruins in Mexico, archaeologists have never found any remains belonging to the Teotihuacan rulers. Such a discovery could help shine light on the leadership structure of the city, including whether rule was hereditary. It could also reveal ancient technology. Much has been written about the Baghdad Battery discovered in Iraq, a clay jar that appears to be able to generate electricity. From metal clasps and precision drilling found at Pumapunka, and stone puzzle blocks that fit together with mathematical precision, to perfectly engineered crystal bowls and stone found in Egypt, the technology found within and around the pyramids are astonishing. Scientists have no clue how these artifacts were made or manufactured. They propose theories, but most cannot be quantified. If ancient man did construct these anomalies, how did they do it? Certainly not with chisels and bronze instruments. Many of these artifacts appear laser-etched or drilled with advanced cutting tools. Some are more precise than we can achieve with the latest modern technology ourselves. Understand that most of these artifacts are cut into granite or brittle stone and quartz. Even with modern technology, this is a very difficult, if not impossible, substance to cut precisely. According to conventional Egyptology, the ancients responsible for these structures were only equipped with simple chisels and manually turned tube and bow drills. Are these results really possible by hand? Not to mention the countless perfect squares, rectangles, circles, smoothly polished surfaces, contoured angles also found at these sites. If the ancients had developed such technology on their own, surely they would have preserved such knowledge. Yet we are left to ponder just how such feats were achieved. It is far more likely that man did not have this knowledge and technology, or they were supervised in the use of such technology. Ancient man, aliens, or a lost civilization predating our history. Where did the monuments of old come from? We know they were far more advanced for hunter-gatherers barely out of the caves to have invented. The idea and inspiration to build such gigantic structures must have been inspired by some intelligence far beyond early man's conceptual abilities. Did man have help? Were these enormous archaeological constructs built by or overseen by ancient aliens with technology far advanced even by our own modern knowledge? Could a civilization predating our own have had such technology and built these monuments that remain to be marveled over even into our history? Or did we somehow attain the knowledge and technology ourselves to build such structures, only to lose it somewhere in the mist of time? We may never know the origins of pyramids and ancient structures. Time will eventually erode and fade even the largest and strongest of them. But at some point in our future, perhaps we will open a long-lost tomb, and there we will find the answers to all the questions we currently have about these ancient archaeological marvels.